Hello. I suspect that many of you have been like me following the news over the last days and are probably sharing the concerns that many of us have over safety at St. Peter's, about safety in church and making sure that we don't find ourselves a place where COVID is spread. Now, until recently, COVID seemed to have largely left Yateley alone. Claire and I were a relative rarity when it came to COVID. But more and more I'm hearing of people testing positive, people within the life of the church, their family, their friends. And the numbers now suggest that St. Peter's area, the Yateley area, is now above average in Tier 4. Now, I've been talking with the staff and the PCC about this, and we've talked about how we feel about this situation and our care and how we should express it. The key points were things like, for example, the tech people. They're sat there at the side of church and it's very, very hard for them to do it with the full social distancing of 2 metres. We thought, could we put screens between them? And then thought, well, but they need to talk to each other because that's how it works. So those sort of things were a problem. Equally, we're not always that great at keeping 2 metres distance at the end of services, and I admit I'm one of those. I'm one of those who struggles with this because we like to be close to people, to talk to them. And a third thought, which I think is probably the one that drives a lot, is I would be distraught, and so would, I'm sure, all of us, if we thought that somebody picked up COVID because they came to St. Peter's at the moment. Now, the law and the diocese don't demand at the moment that we stop services. But there's an increasing feeling that the staff and the PCC and myself feel that we should suspend all live acts of worship at St. Peter's until we are confident that we can do so safely. In the meantime, we go back to online services. At the moment, I think it's simply impossible for us to have that confidence that we can do this as in live services and do them safely. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 pre-recorded services every Sunday. We recognise that some people prefer a more liturgical formal style and others prefer a more informal style. And just as the plan was to have those 2 styles expressed in the services from this Sunday, the plan is that we will have a formal service that will be available at any time on Christmas that will be available at any time on a Sunday morning. You can see I haven't got over Christmas yet. On a Sunday morning. But there will also be an informal service that will be at 10 o'clock every Sunday morning. So a formal service which will be available at any time on Sunday mornings, and an informal service that will be available at 10 o'clock. Sadly, obviously, Deeper is not going to be able to take place either. It's disappointing. It's very disappointing, but in the current circumstances, it's what we feel is the responsible thing to do. Now, we were going to be starting our new service plan with services at 9 and 11 at 7 from next week, from the 10th, but that's going to have to wait for the moment. One positive thing about this is that it provides an opportunity. Thanks to your generosity, your money that was given before Christmas for the work on St. Peter's building, we are going to be able to start the work on getting that done. And we're hoping that we might be able to get some of it done during this time when we're not meeting on a Sunday. So we're going to try and use the time constructively, literally. Now, 2020 is ending in a way that none of us would have imagined or have wanted, but with the hope that with the vaccination, the end of the pandemic is in sight. I'm going to be speaking this Sunday morning on a verse that we have for the year, and we've got some verse cards which are lying around on my desk somewhere, but I can't find at this moment. Verse cards which will be showing the verse for the year, which is Ezekiel 37:14. Which says, I will put my spirit in you and you will live, and I will settle you in your own land. Then you will know that I, the Lord, have spoken, and I have done it, declares the Lord. It's a verse of hope. It's a verse of promise, and it's a verse that speaks of God's provision. Now, our task, our role, is to grasp this hope, this promise, and this provision. With our vision statement in place, we know that we want to dig deeper roots. We want to reach higher and seek God, and we want to reach out wider into our community. But this gives us the promise that God will make it possible. A month or two ago, I was praying with someone who was not well, and they had an image of themselves being a child cradled in the Father's hand, an image of God's protection and encouragement to wait on him. As I was preparing to write this for what I was going to say to you today, I had another email from them, and they said that the child in their image was now an adult. They were standing tall, but they were still grounded on the Father's hand. And what they said is that child who's become an adult may still be exposed to buffeting winds, but it's no longer curled in on itself, but able to experience the breath, the wind of the Holy Spirit in his power and his gentleness. And I thought, what an amazing picture. What a fantastic, fabulous picture, not just for them, but an encouragement for us. Not just for their own personal journey, but one which is encouraging us as St. Peter's worshipping community. That by grasping the hope, grasping the promises, grasping the provision of God, we will stand tall, grounded on our Father's hand, no longer curled in on ourselves, no longer looking inwards, but experiencing the breath, the wind of the Holy Spirit in his power and his gentleness. Just as our verse for this year says, I will put my spirit in you and you will live. What a wonderful picture. What a wonderful image. And that's my prayer for you and for me for 2021. May God bless each and every one of us. God bless. Amen.